Let's begin with KPIX5's Juliette Goodrich. She has been live for us at the port of Oakland. That's where she is now. Juliette?
Well, Alan and Veronica, hundreds of passengers still on the ship directly behind me. They are waiting to disembark. And as we've been seeing all afternoon, a lot of passengers are already getting off, some of them being screened to be taken onto buses to be then driven to Travis Air Force Base. Others will be getting on chartered flights heading out of the state, even out of the country. Now, here is the latest. Officials saying passengers with the virus, 21 of them, 19 crew members, 2 of them passengers or the most seriously ill will be off-boarded first to then be taken to local medical hospitals. And that is what's happened first and foremost. We already saw a couple of passengers on stretchers being loaded into different ambulances for different ailments, not particularly for the coronavirus, but for other things that they experienced while on the ship. Keep in mind, there are a lot of people on the ship, different ages, and the majority of them senior citizens as well. So they're taking extra precaution for them. Emergency crews have been at the port since this morning, waiting for the port to dock, for the boat to dock. We do know, again, 19 crew members and 2 other passengers have been taken to the hospital. Now, all afternoon, we've been seeing the arrival of the ship, and I had the opportunity to talk to a couple of passengers, FaceTime them as they were coming into the dock. Let's hear what they had to say. Some of them very happy just to see land.
We're up with it. I guess they buy right now.
For these Grand Princess passengers, seeing the Port of Oakland, seeing land was a welcome sight. One step closer to heading home. We FaceTimed Maureen James of San Mateo as the Grand Princess sailed into port. Is it nice to see land, or you know what's coming next? You might be on the ship for the next couple of days.
It's nice to see land, but you're right. We might be here. We're packed, but we might be here for the next couple of days. We have not gotten a baggage tag yet, so at this moment we are not one of the first ones getting off.
Wearing masks, passengers like Monica Actor finally able to leave their cabin.
Morning.
Good morning.
I just have some questions for you, ma'am.
Yes.
Do you wash your hands before you leave the room?
Yes.
Okay.
Monica was on a family reunion cruise, but here was the real reunion after being confined for 4 days from seeing family.
Isn't it beautiful? It's beautiful. Woo! Hi!
Good afternoon from the Grand Princess.
And for this couple from Ontario, Canada, a tour of life confined to a stateroom.
We are finally docked in Oakland or Portland. I'm not sure exactly where we are. This is our stateroom where we've been banished for the last 4 days. We will just slowly walk out to have a look at some of the reporters and some of the fanfare that was waiting for us when we arrived here today.
They have now been told to get their belongings ready for a 9 p.m. chartered flight back to Canada, where they will be quarantined for 14 days.
We are very happy to be here. Better circumstances would be appreciated. However, we're going to be on our way home to Canada here in 4 or 5 hours is my understanding. So cheers and thank you. Bye.
They certainly have a good attitude, and yes, that couple from Canada is headed home, but keep in mind, once they land, they'll be quarantined for 14 days. Also, Maureen, who I FaceTimed in my story that you saw, she is still on the ship, so we will pan in and just show you there's still passengers. They're outside getting fresh air, some of them exercising, some of them waving. I think many of them just happy that hopefully their journey is going to be coming to some sort of a conclusion after their quarantine for those 14 days. I'll send it back to you, Alan and Veronica, in the studio. But our friend from San Mateo, Maureen, is still on that ship. She thinks she'll be there for another 24 hours. So a lot of them aren't going home just yet or going on to buses or planes.
Yeah, but it's been amazing, Juliette, to see her attitude through all of this. She's kind of kept calm and she's been very, very positive. So it's nice to watch. But I wanted to kind of you put this all into perspective because it's such a huge undertaking. We're talking 3,500 passengers, crew members on board that ship. We've been watching live pictures, Juliette, of the Canadian citizens disembarking. We know that Maureen thinks she's going to be leaving tomorrow. Do you have any idea in terms of who's next, who will be coming off that ship after the Canadian citizens?
Yeah, it's a huge undertaking. And keep in mind, they're used to doing these massive disembarkings, whether it's just regularly passengers getting off the ship. In this case, it happens to be a medical emergency, but they do have a very organized way of handling things. But in this particular case, the first people who were let off that ship were obviously those that were ill or tested positive. And then we were hearing that it was going to be California passengers that were going to be the next to go. Well, we're seeing kind of a mix of Canadians disembarking, going onto a chartered flight, also some California passengers who will be headed to Travis. And from there, we'll just kind of keep getting our updates. But they're trying to go in an orderly fashion, as orderly as they can be. But they have it down to a science when it comes to disembarking. But I'm sure it's a little tricky in this particular situation.
Yeah, you can only imagine. All right, Juliette Goodrich live there at the Port of Oakland. Juliette, we'll check back with you. Thank you.